Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is a real talk with Dana and Gwen.
We want to talk about recovery.
And being real. Dana, it's so funny because I've worked with several clients who have come to me and they're like, when is this going to be over? When are my anxiety symptoms going to be over? When is my depression going to be over? And I'll say to them, I hate to be a Debbie Downer. Sorry, Debbie. Not that I don't know how Debbie got connected to Downer, but
that's from that
there
SNL
is no like I'm out and I'm in. Like there's a management of symptoms, and we want the peaks to be lower and the valleys to be higher, and we want those episodes to be further apart. I think far is distance, further is anyway.
More.
So we want them. We want the intensity to be less, but people who struggle with depression and anxiety, they kind of are your companions that you have to manage and influence.
Absolutely. And in general, just about symptoms, I hate even calling them symptoms, traits with neurodivergence. I mean, I think that was talking with Gwen before we went on and had yet another surgery and a complication of it already. And just not being able to like type, or like, I don't have a sweater on. Have I done any podcast yet without my sweater on?
No.
And as it's taking me longer to get ready in the morning. And then I'm like, do I want to go through the whole sweater thing? Because then I have to put a baggie around this so that the friction doesn't catch and I can get us. And I'm just like, screw it. I'm not, so it sort of is like, I think about anxiety, depression, and just traits of neurodivergence like that, where there's a level of wear and tear in terms of like, how many pounds can I pile on you before your knees buckle, and that, especially in the case of depression, we're talking about a brain rewiring itself and trying to make different neurotransmitters and sort of see the world a different way and so on. And those things take time. When I was working out this morning, a Chicago song was on. It's kind of my wife and I's favorite song for Chicago. And there's a line in there and it says, "Good things in life take a long time." And it really is like the really steady, long-lasting sorts of things don't happen immediately. I mean, I wish they would. I wish I could do a surgery, bam, bam, next day I'm good to go. But it is that slow burn, and I think it's especially when it's a negative emotion. We don't people coming and seeing us saying, "I have way too much joy. Damn it! Can we get rid of this? Can we figure out a way so I'm not happy all the time?" Right?
Yeah.
So what we do in therapy, we can't like change your brain neurotransmitters, but we try to have you have awareness and what can you do things that we know that tend to help, like movement and how you see things and eating good food and all that stuff that we sort of focus on, and then processing through trauma if that's there. Give you tools to manage anxiety, knowing that if you're neurodivergent, you'll never be without it, right? But that sense of how long does it take to heal? I don't know. I've never worked with anybody or in my own work felt like I've reached an arrival point. Like, here I am. Like one day I'm like, yep, there it is. It's usually more, I talk to my therapist and be like, that's interesting. That one thing isn't bothering me anymore. And then in hindsight, you look back and say, oh, okay, I guess I must be feeling better. It's hard with depression and anxiety and executive functioning and some of the other kinds of traits we see in neurodivergence to see in sort of in real time a change, right? It's more, I wish we had $1 for every time we said awareness on this podcast, because it really is, if you're not aware in the first place, how can you measure change? And if you are aware, I saw a little meme while I was sitting down, waiting for you to log on. And it said something about, anger and neurodivergence is a sign that you're in a place of like overwhelm or and I was like, okay, duh. But it said that you're in the midst of someone boundary crossing you. And then I'm thinking of, okay, when have I been like super angry in the last week? And I'm like, oh, it did feel like, ooh, that's a good flag for me now. If I'm feeling angry, is there something that's crossing boundaries for me? Like at work stuff, when I'm angry and then I get so angry that I kind of shut down a little bit, it's
Yeah.
almost always some sort of boundary issue. So I use that example, not so much to tell people when you're angry, it's a boundary thing. It's more like learn your switches, right? It sort of is like when I was working all those years in body therapy, I have asthma. And when I was really having a hard time with it, it usually, for me, it was a fear thing. There was like terror behind it in terms of growing up trauma. And so now even if I'm getting sick or something and I can feel it in my lungs, I'll be like, is it a virus or is there something else? It's a flag for me. I've learned that about myself, right? So a lot of times if I'm feeling that, I'll feel that tightness in my chest that feels a little asthma-ish. And I'm like, oh, actually, it's not asthma per se. It's this emotional thing. So you can learn for yourself, like, what are the clues? What are the things what are the flags that pop up that mean certain things for you? I'm going to use that one I just learned this morning. When I'm angry, is there a boundary crossing? It's going to be one of my check-ins now. And those
Yeah.
things take a while, right? To learn those. And then when you're in the midst of it and you're in the middle of it, that's not usually the best time to be rational and figure it all out, right?
I mean, and that's like the brain
But
isn't capable of being rational in those moments because,
right,
you know,
yeah,
when
yeah,
we're distressed, I mean, we are really in the fight flight kind of areas of our
yeah,
mind or our brain, right? We're
yeah,
hindbrained and like thinking and that part of our brain, right? For the front part of our brain, the back part, they don't fire at the same time. Like they just don't.
right, yeah,
When we
yeah.
are stressed and we are threatened, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um it does take cognitive awareness,
mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah,
hard for people. It's hard when you've got ADHD. It's hard
yeah, yeah,
when,
yeah.
right? Like it's hard to go, ooh, how do I just hit the pause button and take a moment?
Mm-hmm.
I think
You have to
too,
learn to do that, right? Like if I'm
yeah,
working on something physical and it isn't working and I can feel that frustration to a blowing point, now I know I need to stop for a minute. But
yeah,
before I would just get more and more angry and then throw
yep,
something or whatever. Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. You know, the idea too, and I don't know if, you know, people can resonate with this, but you know, when you go to a therapist and you're because you're not feeling well, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
mean like you're depressed or you're anxious or you're confused or you're overwhelmed, you're burnt out, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, these types of, you know, these some of these reasons why we go see a
Yeah.
therapist. But you know, you kind of you want relief. You know, you want the symptoms or you know, you want it to be
Of
over,
course.
right?
If you have a headache,
And
you take a pill, you want it to stop, right?
right.
Yeah.
And this type of work, unfortunately, is not
Mhm.
that binary. And
Yeah.
so I think when people are misled that
Mm-hmm.
that's the outcome of
Mm-hmm.
therapy, there is very, very significant dissatisfaction with the
Sure.
work, right? And
Mm-hmm.
because the expectations are off, right? And that I think sometimes my clients who've seen multiple therapists, because, you know, for whatever reasons, it hasn't worked with one or another.
Yeah.
The idea there is like, well, if they're the experts and I keep
Mm-hmm.
feeling like this, then clearly
Mm-hmm.
I'm the broken one, right? I'm the one that's
Oh, yeah.
broken. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so just resetting the expectations that like when you do struggle with big feelings, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is something that we can't say, well, in 14 days, in 14
Yeah.
sessions, this is why insurance is so like enraging
Oh,
for
if
me.
only. Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
been approved 12 sessions. It's like, what are we going to do in 12 sessions of
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, even if we do teach and support the use of behavioral strategies, skills,
Mm-hmm.
environmental changes, modifications,
Mm-hmm.
you still need to practice those
Yeah.
over and over and over again for them to be integrated into the system where
Yeah.
you can actually access them independently, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think
So
of like
yeah,
if you had a scratch on a piece of wood, if it's a kind of a superficial scratch, so something happened to you once when you were in high school, sanding that down and getting rid of the scratch is pretty quick, right? If you've got a scratch that goes down through several layers, like complex trauma does or like neurodivergence does, you're going to be at it for a while. And it takes a long time to keep getting those layers off and getting the layers off and you never really get rid of them completely. You just get them to where you can live with it or you can fill it and do something, blend it in, right? So that
yeah,
the wounds are still there. They're just not as critically like right after a surgery or something like that. They're not quite as, they don't hurt quite as much and it doesn't happen quite as quickly. And you know the ways to take care of yourself. You learn that. That was one of the hardest things for me, I think, in my own therapy was sort of like you had said before we went on. I know putting my nose to the grindstone and push, push, push. I know how to do that really well. To stop and take some time and rest and that kind of stuff. That was a major learning curve for me in therapy. It was really
yeah,
hard. I'm
yeah,
supposed to rest and then I'm sitting there like, oh, I can't just sit here, right? Because my coping mechanism was to run, run, run.
yeah.
So it takes a while, and it isn't a destination. I used to hate someone who one of my mentors say it's a process, not a destination, or it's a journey, not a destination. I'm
It's a
like,
right.
screw you, but it's
Yeah,
true, right?
yeah,
You can then though turn around and look where you've come and look at the path that you've already covered, and you'll know that you're getting somewhere. It's not like you're not going to see any progress, but I don't think you're ever done. Like, when will I know I'm recovered? Well, that's why they call it recovery. Like, even in 12-step groups,
yeah,
it's not I'm getting into recovered. I'm getting into recovery. We as humans are always learning, always changing things, always looking at things through different perspectives. And that takes some time, and understand the frustration of it not going fast enough or not being able to recognize it, right? That's what another thing I love so much about journaling. I can go back and look at journals I wrote when I was early in therapy, and I'm like, oh my God, like I have come a long way, right?
yeah.
Or people in your life that can see it, some sort of marker for you. But knowing when you're healed, it's a really hard one.
It's
Yeah.
really hard. And like sometimes you don't even know that you feel better or worse because, things are
Hmm.
moving at these glacial,
Yeah.
like a glacial speed.
Yeah.
I was saying
Yeah.
to Dana before we hit the record button that this year, so we just came to a year of the fires, right? And it's our
Oh,
year
okay.
anniversary, which was actually
Oof.
really hard for my family because it just comes with so much trauma. And I was saying to Dana, like, struggling with some of my own things. It's like, I didn't even realize how awful I felt because I feel better
Hmm.
now. And it's like, it's not even that I'm not aware, in many ways. It's that I got into that space of put your head down
Yeah.
and survive, you
Yeah.
know,
That's all
this
you can do.
for the next I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, adversity. I know how to deal with adversity." Like adversity,
Right.
yeah, I can deal with adversity. But like coming out of
Right.
it and healing from adversity and um just getting myself back, sometimes you
Hmm.
don't even know, right? Like that's
Yeah.
where I was.
Yeah.
And I look back and
Yeah.
I'm like, the burnout
Oh,
was real. Like
no pun intended. Yeah.
real. I don't know how I continued just to put one foot in
Hmm.
front of the other. I know how I did. I mean, like, I'm very used
You
to
had
doing
to.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not healthy. And I think too, again, expectations. I never ever have an expectation that I'm just gonna be okay. Like one day I'm gonna be
Hmm.
okay. And then
Hmm. Hmm.
yesterday I wasn't okay. Right.
Right.
But that you've got to also be in this space of accepting that things are a journey or like, how do I learn from something bad that happened? Right. You got to be in a
Hmm.
space to do that. If you're not in the space to do that and you still need to be with the feels, right? When
Hmm.
people say
Hmm.
to you, like, get over it, like, what can you learn
Oh
from it?
God.
You
Yeah.
want to like kick
Punch
them
him in the
where
face.
right? And I think
Yeah.
that's when like, I haven't been understood or seen enough yet. Like, I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
not someone has not held me I have not held myself in this
Hmm.
space, and I think we get afraid to do that because I will say, like, there's a worry about if I give in, if I let myself have these big feelings, will I ever
Mm,
come back from this?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Will I
I'm
just
gonna
get
go crazy.
swallowed up, right?
Hmm.
Especially depression is a right? Because depressive thoughts can be
Yeah,
very
yeah. Is it
scary,
just gonna swallow me? Yeah, exactly. Yep, yep. And
right?
it's hard when you're in it. I was song quotes are in my head this morning. The wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald song. There's a line in
Mm,
there that says, "Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours?" And it
mm,
sort of reminds me of that if that process of change is a lot like being on a boat in high seas and it just is interminable, right? Each wave is coming, each wave is coming. It feels like it's never going to end. But you should know that within that, your therapist will also try to help you see some things that have shifted and have changed. I mean, it's not all let's suffer, let's suffer, let's suffer to get you through this. It really is about those moments of relief when you start to feel more sure of yourself, instead of
mm,
it being all doubt, maybe it's only 95% doubt, and you're like, ooh, I'm 5% pretty sure, right? And then that
yeah,
slowly changes to where you realize someday you've made a decision about something and that was automatic, or you were a lot more clear, or you still got upset about something, but your positionality was way more clear. You're more grounded in what you're doing. So you're not plagued by doubt, that kind of thing. So it may
yeah,
not even look the way you think it should look, but it'll be recovered, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Dana, what is that Japanese concept of when like the pots are broken, the clay, like the
Mm.
ceramic pots are broken, they're put
Oh,
back
yeah.
with
Yeah. They
gold,
put gold, right? In the,
right?
yeah,
And it's like
yeah,
stronger. You know what?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure there's someone that's listening. The
I think
10
what's
of you
really
that
great
listen to
about,
this podcast, can you please help me? But that idea of like, can you be put together? Like, can you come back
yeah,
stronger?
yeah. I
And in
love
many
that.
ways, yeah,
Yeah, that metaphor is so cool because here's my autistic brain. Ceramic is incredibly hard to break, but when it does break, shards. And gold is one of the softest metals there is. So they use that to put it back together. But gold has flexibility, it moves. It's the reason why you get a gold ring sized up and down because those molecules can be pounded into moving. So the repair part of you has give, right? It has flexibility versus the parts of you that were shattered. So I love that because it isn't about putting you back with hard glue and nothing can destroy you now. No, I would say that's the single biggest thing I've learned in therapy isn't so much to like rigidly fix something, it's learning to be flexible, learning to
yeah,
be able to move with myself and things in life. And if I am on a ship and it's high seas, how am I going to get through this? People that are like, oh, look, my whole neighborhood burned down, but I'm going to be in the Zen place. This is God's will and it'll all be fine. Oh, no, that person's got problems. It's about feeling the pain that's happening at that point in time, not being able to see land at that point, but knowing it's there and knowing if you keep on the boat and you stay above water, you will make it to land. But there's a lot of trust in that, right? I
yeah,
think that's why longer term therapy does work because you get those wins, and then you start to trust your therapist and you start to trust yourself. And for me, that was like my drug then. I'm like, I want more. I want more. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Right.
yeah,
To get that sense of recovery and making progress. Right.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
I think so like, the message really is for all of you out there, be patient,
Hmm.
trust the process, be flexible. Don't look at things as I'm going to never have to struggle with these feelings
Hmm.
ever again when I hit that recovery point or whatever that is. That just
Yeah.
doesn't exist. You change your relationship
Yeah.
with depression, with anxiety, with whatever it is
Yeah.
that you'll change your relationship with it.
Yeah.
Um and that, continue to be aware of yourself.
Yeah. The glass is not half empty or half full. It's like, ooh, water. What is that? What can I do with water? Ooh, I can
Yeah.
make iced tea out of water, which
Yeah.
is perfect for an autistic brain. what could I do? Don't focus
Yeah.
on the full or not full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to end. All right, all
Hmm.
y'all, be
Cool.
good to you, be good to others, be patient with yourself, be
Hmm.
patient with others.
Hmm.
But we will catch you in the next episode. Okay, bye.
Bye, everybody.